Hello, everyone. I'm Jim Garrison, and I want to welcome you to day 253 of Humanity Rising. This is a very auspicious day for us because it demarcates our first anniversary. We started to broadcast in May 22nd, 2020, in the depth of the pandemic, and our commitment was to continue for as long as the pandemic unfolded. And here we are a year later. The pandemic is still tenaciously confronting humanity with fundamental challenges, and Humanity Rising continues to celebrate human goodness, I would say. So as we begin our program today, I want to just express my deepest gratitude, humble gratitude for all the goodness in the world. We've had over 900 speakers, thousands of people join, hundreds of organizations, and I'm more confident and optimistic than I've ever been in my life that in some mysterious way, the spirit that guides the affairs of humankind is working through our small little deeds and is weaving a tapestry that in the end is going to redeem us all. So in that spirit of Thanksgiving, I want to welcome Sabine Van Gofka, who has been a partner in moderating many of our Humanity Rising sessions, who will lead us in our heart coherence meditation and commence our program. Sabine, welcome.
Thank you, Jim. And I just want to say thank you, Jim, for the astonishing and, mind-blowing achievement that you have really proved during this year of Humanity Rising, where you each and every day, in the beginning, 7 days a week, and then after summer, 5 days a week, have been here sharing your wealth of knowledge, your generosity, your wisdom, your space, your capacity. It's a proof of the good in the world, and really proof that one person can also contribute to so much change and be a catalyst for others to step up and also share their voice and share this space. And this is an homage to you, Jim, and also to Humanity Rising on its first year anniversary. But we really want this to be a celebratory session where you will also feel the warmth and the appreciation from all the thousands and hundreds and if not millions of people and their heart coherence for all that you, the team, the participant, the speakers, the audience have contributed in this year. And just looking in 1 year, what can be achieved through conversations, seeds of conversations that have also during this year really blossomed into inspired actions. And Humanity Rising has showcased already, partnerships, ventures, across sectors, borders, the programs within Ubiquity University, people who were audiences initially stepping up, and now some are even at Ubiquity University within the team there, and others have, gone off with ventures and really are these catalysts for change. So it is truly astonishing to see what has been happening in a year, and can't imagine what will happen in the year to come. And there has been so many insights of wisdom. And like you mentioned, 600 speakers, a vast and diverse palette of topics and conversations, and also the start of Humanity Rising that came from this quest of we really need a platform and a space where people can come together around a common cause. Then it was the pandemic, and now it is actually of, how do we pave the way forward for this world that we're both entering and living and breathing in, and really see this interactive and integrated vibration that we have, that we're also integrated with each other, which of course the pandemic has also shown, and how Humanity Rising started with the voices of the indigenous people, the elderly, and then you gave the voice to the women, and then it was the youth, and since there it's just, you know, grown in so many ways. So it's truly a day of celebration, and it also, both you and Humanity Rising really also show, like you say, there's so much positivity in conveying solutions. The solutions are there, and the people, the individuals, the teams are there who are also paving way for these solutions. It's just that they need an arena to really showcase this or to enlighten others, and that's what Humanity Rising has really proven to be. And as humans, you know, we share a universal power to love. And I think that love has been such a profound vibration through Humanity Rising, each and every section. So many quotes of poets and music and all of sort of the artistry, palette of artistry has also come through Humanity Rising, reminding us nearly the birth of the new Renaissance, that also we interact with art, with music, and of course with energy and vibration and all of this. And I know that Rumi is one of the poets that we've also spoken many times. And I sort of wanted to find something, some words of a poet to sort of both illustrate you, Jim, and also Humanity Rising. And I found a few words of Rumi, which says, you know, what is the body? Endurance. What is love? Gratitude. What is hidden in our chests? Laughter and a heart, of course. And what else is needed? Compassion. And I just feel that Humanity Rising really is that portal of compassion that ignites inspired action. Because action is also, of course, what needs to come forth now. Conversations are sparking it. And today, like I said, is a celebratory session. We have such an amazing palette of beautiful individuals who are here to share their thoughts and share their gratitude to you, Jim, and Humanity Rising, and of course, the team behind Humanity Rising, because there are so many people involved in this. And before I hand over the word, I just wanted to do what I know we do every single day, and that is that heart coherence meditation, really allowing us to align with the space here and now. And this heart coherence will be accompanied with the beautiful music of Ruth Cunningham. So with some inhales and exhales for a minute, let's just connect with our hearts. Thank you for that 1 minute. So today is a special session where we are going to be celebrating the birth and the 1 year life of Humanity Rising, and also looking forward. So we have a jam-packed agenda with amazing voices and people and individuals who are here to share their knowledge and also, of course, share their appreciation for Humanity Rising. And I'll be facilitating us through today. And we also want, of course, you, the audience, to be participatory. We have the Zoom function, of course, and the chat function. function, but we will also be holding space for a few participants that time allows to actually ask some questions live in this session. And we'll be doing that later on. It will be facilitated by John Raymer, and you'll use the raise hand function, but we'll facilitate you that for that later. Now I want to hand over the word to Appella Colorado, who will be blessing us and this space with a beautiful invocation.
Sangwajisen Yahweh, Yahweh. We give thanks this morning, this evening, this afternoon around the world for this opportunity to gather around this virtual fire. In the darkness of this time, so profound, who knows what to do? In the darkness, where disinformation and misinformation are reveled in to create chaos and an inability to perceive, to feel, to sense, to know what is real, what is true. In a time with death and suffering around everywhere, in the utter darkness of this time, the axis of the earth slips. Humanity doesn't notice. In that utter darkness, a spark of life, a spark of hope, a spark of heart. This spark, Humanity Rising Summit, touches the dreams and the sleeping life of Jim Garrison. And in his full heart, full compassion, filled with desire for life and transformation, Jim Garrison articulates a dream and steps forward, carrying the spark of light with him. This spark of light has touched thousands, maybe millions of people around the globe. And in my own life, I can say thank you, Yahweh. Now today, we celebrate ancestors, 1 full year of people coming together and sharing that light and building that light ever stronger. We thank you for giving us this chance, for being together, and the opportunity to build a fire so bright and so clear that the whole world that needs it and longs for it can find this fire and come to assemble the new time, the new creation, the new sun. Mama, oh no, Yahweh, all my relations, amen.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for lighting that fire, Apila, and for guiding us through that invocation. And with that, I would like to hand over the word to Brother Phil Lane Jr., who is going to offer us a ritual offering.
Good morning, dear relatives. I'm really honored this morning to share some prayers, some reflections on the beautiful work of our dear brother, Jim Garrison, Ubiquity University in Humanity Rising. O Tunkachla Wakantaga, creator of the universe, most beloved one, all powerful one, most kind one, most compassionate one, ever forgiving one. Most tender one, O ancient of days, O most blessed beauty, we call upon and summon your holy power through the gifts you've given all of us to communicate with you. And we ask this day full blessings and thanksgiving for Jim Garrison, his family, his beloved ones, past, present, and future, Ubiquity University, the whole team there that's uplifted Humanity Rising in this year anniversary. We ask, as this year unfolds, as Humanity Rising unfolds further and further, we're going to see by 2030 the beginning of peace on earth. We call upon all those tribes and nations of the east, from where comes the red sunrise, the south from where comes new life, the west from where comes thunder, lightning, and rain, the north from where comes the white snow, Father Sky and Mother Earth. We give thanksgiving for all the gifts they give us, for all members of our human family, each and every one of them. May we understand fully and truly the prior unity and oneness of our human family, and the hurt of one is the hurt of all, and the honor of one is the honor of all. And that it is in this foundation of the understanding of the oneness of our human family that we will fulfill the prophecies, and there will be peace on earth. We give thanksgiving again to Ubiquity University, Jim Garrison's long vision, his always consideration of indigenous people and everything he's done. In fact, consideration of all human beings that have not been represented. He's brought their voice forward, and we give thanksgiving for all this. We give thanksgiving for this morning for all the masculine elements of life. We ask as men, we might awaken truly to the spirituality that the wings of the eagle are two, one is woman and one is man, until both wings of that eagle have equal power, respect, and honor. The eagle of humanity will never fly its highest. That we men, we become the champions of seeing the uplifting and the end of violence against women, against Mother Earth. They're one and the same. We humble ourselves before our beloved Mother again and give thanksgiving to our mothers who brought us into this life. We give them thanksgiving just for that, just having this beautiful life, and our fathers and all our ancestors. And I want to conclude this prayer for unity, and unity especially to continue here on this beautiful, wonderful uplifting that occurs every morning for our human family. O my God, unite the hearts of thy servants and reveal unto them thy great purpose. May they follow thy commandments and abide in thy law. Help them, O God, in their endeavor, and grant them strength to serve thee. O God, lead them not themselves, but guide their steps with light of knowledge, and cheer their hearts by thy love. Verily thou art their helper, Lord. Hallelujah, chante washtelo, shinkmano he meado, chunipasapa he meado, hallelujah, chante washte. Aho, have a most beautiful day.
Aho and namaste, Brother Phil, for that beautiful ritual offering and also prayer. And may 2030 be the year of peace, and peace along the way.
And I had one verse of this song, particularly for Jim. This song is one of our White Buffalo's half-pipe song, and it says, "Friend, do it." It says, "Friend," it says the pipe is sacred, but it's saying the mineral people make up the bowl, the plant people make up the stem, the animal people make up the bundle, and then you put it together, and there's the human being. It means all life is sacred. This thing, two verses. Might have that for you, Jim, for all you've done. Again, Thanksgiving, Brother Jim, and Ubiquity University, and Humanity Rising.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Brother Phil Lane Jr., for being here with us and for gracing with your presence. And we will continue. Jim, there are so many people who want to continue this celebratory session and really, give words of praise to you and Humanity Rising. So we're now going to have a couple of live appreciations, 4 minutes each from, I'm sure, many familiar faces. And we're going to start with Lynn Twist, who actually helped out on the first day, the first session of Humanity Rising last year. So Lynn?
Thank you, Sabine. Well, Jim, what a year you have created for all of us. What a launch for the decade that is the defining decade for life on this planet. What a gift. What an offering. What an example of who you are, what you stand for, the great convener that you are for the souls of all of us, for the great minds on this planet, for the big hearts on this planet, and for the opening, the aperture, the invocation, the invitation that we all needed as we began to shut down. You opened us up. You brought us together every single day. You brought together the great voices that everybody craved to hear. You inspired, really, I know, millions of people. Because if I just take myself as an example, and the convening that I was part of on the very first day, I know that hundreds, thousands, and now millions of people use that day, those words, that opportunity, that moment as a taproot for staying the course through the last year and finding their way during the pandemic. The pandemic isn't over. In fact, the pandemic perhaps has just begun. And I know you knew that. I remember when you called me and asked me to participate. I remember the kind of prophet you were at that time, how you knew we would need this connective tissue to get through this year that we've been through, but not only for this year, to realize that the virus, the pandemic, and everything that it brought forth, including the breakdown of the economy, the breakdown of our educational system, the breakdown of our relationship with ourselves, all the way to the incident with George Floyd, which cracked open our revelation for the way we were living with each other that was inappropriate, is the appropriate beginning for this defining decade. And you knew that. You knew that before I think anyone else. You knew that we needed to have a portal to face and be real with each other during this defining year of the first year of this defining decade. And in many ways, I think you knew that the pandemic was a kind of, you could say, morning sickness for humanity to realize that we're pregnant. We're pregnant and we're about to give birth. I don't know how long this pregnancy will be, but rather than being sick, we have morning sickness, knowing that we're giving birth, men and women together, to a new kind of human being, that humanity is rising, humanity is evolving, that we're coming out of the darkness into a new form of who we are, a new way of being, a new defining human being that can match the moment that we're in. For me and for all of us who are going to speak, and the millions of people who won't be able to speak in this celebration, I bow to you. I thank you. What you've done for my life and all the lives I touch is immeasurable, is inconceivable, is almost impossible to acknowledge. Since I've known you, since the day I met you, till this moment right now, I bow to you with all my heart. I thank you with all my being, and I celebrate you for the millions of people, probably the hundreds of millions of people ultimately the billions of people who will benefit, who already have benefited and will benefit from the great wisdom, the great convening, the great kindness, the great intellectual clarity, and most of all, the great love with which you've done this remarkable work. Congratulations, happy birthday, and may you continue forever and ever and ever. We are with you. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. And with that, I want to hand over the word to Lisette Schweitmacher, who actually gave Jim the idea initially to create Humanity Rising. So Lisette, the word is yours.
Thank you, Sabine. And yes, somewhere early in the pandemic, this question arose in me. The question, where is the conversation happening about how we come out of this pandemic, how we seize the moment? And I called Jim. Who else to call with such a question? I had met Jim in Brazil, where he was mounting the 2020 climate leadership campaign. And as so often, it's like, okay, that didn't really lift off the ground, but you have mounted a 2020 leadership campaign, Jim, beyond my wildest dreams of how the question that arose in me could be answered. Actually, after that conversation, you kind of picked up on the idea, and we were going to have a next conversation a few days later, and I was kind of thinking about how to go about it. But when we next spoke, you had kind of not even saddled your horse. You just jumped on your horse and ridden out into wide beyond and called everybody that you know. And that's a lot of people in the movement of consciousness. And everybody, of course, said yes. And I think we're celebrating today also, this is a tribute to everything you have done in your life. Everybody you have touched with your insight, your wisdom, your humor, your friendship, because everybody wanted to be in this leadership campaign with you in this conversation. Working with Peter Mary for a long time, and meeting you also through Peter Mary, one of our aims was, how can the movement see itself? How can we not be like in the Blessed and Rest, all kinds of little groupings, doing our own thing? How can we as imaginal cells come together? And you have made this happen. In the past year, our movement has become much more aware of itself, and all these conversations have started to interweave, and that is when there's more energy being released and we can do more. And one day, mainstream will also see what is happening. So I want to commend you on how you have ridden this horse and created with your immense positivity and your immense optimism. And also I have a poem from Hafiz that I think applies to you very, very much. And this is, Jim, for you. The sun never says to the moon, "You owe me." Look what happens with a love like that. It lights the whole sky. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lisette. So much.
You've got to put on that.
Thank you, Lisette. And Jim, we continue to words of praise to you and Humanity Rising. And I'd like to hand over the word to Bob Rees, who's also a long supporter of Humanity Rising and also an attendee and also been very active in the AfterChat. So Bob, I hand over the word to you.
And his wife, Gloria.
Gloria, of course.
And we are wearing Jim's Garrison blue for him. And Jim, this is a poem that is a tribute Bob wrote to you for your great gift of Humanity Rising, which has helped us not only to survive the pandemic, but to rise above it. It begins with an epigraph from Maya Angelou, "Still I rise."
We were born to rise. We were rising even before we were born from galaxies, nebulae, stellar remnants of darker matter.
Seeds of us rising through genotype and haplotype, genealogies and generations, to rise in our mothers and to the promise of ourselves, to the hive and honeycomb of our quantumed minds.
We have been rising through lore and legend, myth and history, as the stars rise to baptize the night, as the moon out of water rises with brightening light, as the sun rises, blessing each day.
We have been rising as the trillion krill, the bioluminescent jellyfish, the stranded salpa and lanternfish rise through dim and dark.
We have been rising as salmon rise up streams, ascending waterfalls to plant eggs among pebbles, until hatchlings return to the sea for another rising.
We have been rising as dragonflies wing from ponds, mayflies from marshes, as bees and butterflies fly up from fields and flowers.
We have been rising as herons and egrets lift from water and wetlands, as swans swim into air on clouded wings.
We have been rising from ashes, from dust and debris, to resurrection and revelation as angels heralding the heavens.
We have been rising from graves and tombs, from caves and catacombs, from labyrinths and underworlds. Persephone rising on the dayward stair as winter wanes, calling weeds, flowers, and bushes to burst their buds and bloom into sky.
We have been rising in dreams,
In visions, into the imaginal eternal,
where
ever we rise.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Gloria and Bob. And as you say, together we rise, and that we shall do. And I want to now hand over the word to Peter Murray, who I'm sure many of you recognize, who is Chief Innovation Officer at Ubiquity University and has many times shared his wisdom and insights in sessions here at Humanity Rising. So Peter, I hand over the word to you.
Thank you, Sabinia. And first of all, I just want to acknowledge Bob, because it was Bob Reese's chat to me in LinkedIn that led to what we're doing today. It was his idea. And look, Bob, what has happened since you followed that impulse. Now, Jim and Humanity Rising. I think, Jim, when Lisette mentioned it to us, we both got the kind of hit that you get when you just know that it needs to happen. And when the name came through me from the dream world one morning, we just knew that this was it. And what I've just been in awe of throughout the year is how every day, like without fail, you show up and each day you're completely present and alive authentically with a new message, a new framing of all the different topics. Somehow your mind is able to connect and resonate with this multitude of topics that have come in and find something to frame it for us in a way that everybody instantly gets. And then And then the session starts, and I know sometimes you're multitasking in the background, but at the same time, at the end of it, I know you come up with something that really adds to what has already been said. So you've got this capacity to be completely present, completely fresh every day, honoring the people and the subjects as they come through. And that's just something I've admired throughout the year. And Jim, I think the thing that has kind of connected us and keeps us working together over all these years is both our shared pain for what's happening in the world and our shared passion to do something about it. And pain and passion actually have the same root as a word originally. And it's in that context that I want to offer you this song that's coming up from somebody who was on Humanity Rising with us and who really wanted to join us live and sing for you live, but couldn't make it today. You may remember Luke Concannon. And he wrote a song called England Uprise, so on the rising theme. And what I'm going to do now is play you the live version of it that they played at the Glastonbury Festival. That is this kind of embodiment of our passion and our caring for the world. So that's what's coming up for the next few minutes, people. This is Luke Concannon with Nislopi playing England Uprise. Oh no, Rick, I've got to install an audio device, it's saying.
I've got it, Peter, I'll play it.
You got it? Okay,
yeah.
Cool. Let me stop sharing then.
Let's sing this together. England uprise, England uprise, unite tonight, England uprise. No more to David Cameron and neoliberalism, no more of us slaving for global capitalism, no more denying the beauty of who you really are, no more wars for oil, fuck the mainstream media, no more Monsanto, Nestle factory farming, no more Detroit and nuclear rearming, no more expanding on aviation roads, no more to these old dead people, those dead. Come on. Unite tonight, England uprise. Come on, England uprise. England uprise. Unite tonight, England. It's like yes to the Beatles and to George Monbiot, yes to FDM, to Gary Dunn's live shows, yes to woofing in the festival scene, yes to the brave youth that build for our dreams, yes to solidarity, internationalism, Tom Paine, George Orwell, spiritual activism, yes to Rory McLeod, rambling through woods, and all the suffragettes and from injustice made good, get up. Come on. Go, unite tonight. Revolution, you don't need a gun, make it happen together as one, cause love is just like oxygen. Don't let our people get overrun. All musical life under the sun, make it happen. What do we want to become? England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and the whole fucking world. People, come on, everyone. Public
There you go, Jim.
Thank you,
Happy
Peter.
birthday, mate.
Love you, brother.
Thank you so much, Peter. And with that, I want to hand over the word to Leslie Southwick-Trask, who started initially as a really active and engaged Humanity Rising participant in the Zoom chat and audience. And today she is part of Ubiquity University and holds the critical role of Head of Strategic Partnership at Ubiquity University. So Leslie, it's a pleasure to hand over the word to you.
Oh, thank you. So gracious to be now. Thank you. Hey, friend, the man that I get to see so frequently now. It's like, yay. The one thing about working with you, Jim, is that you push us constantly to use our imaginal selves. Like some people might, as a leader, say, you know, let's have a meeting and you can use your imaginal selves, but not you, Jim. You just expect us to show up in our imaginal selves and just co-create as much as we can possibly imagine. And so in the spirit of that, Jim, I wrote you a limerick only because I don't know how to do it. And I figured if I was going to do one, I might as well do one for you. So bear with me as I use my imaginal selves to say and give you the ode to Jim. There once was a man named Jim who fearlessly went out on a limb to say to the globe the pandemic would hold, and humanity had to be daring. On May 22nd, he launched with a beckon, a calling to women to unleash their mission of birthing a new way of knowing. With insight and passion and brilliant compassion, this man never wavered in being our savior, and we uncovered a time unimagined. We have traveled the world with his lovely white curls, from the beds of the sea to our vast galaxy, in the quest of a regenerated planet. So how to do justice to a journey so luscious and a man who is selfless in a quest to awareness of oneness of all living beings? So with deep gratitude and a love that is true, I bow to your wisdom, for humanity has risen and taken one giant step for mankind. That is my ode to Jim. So all I can say in my last few remarks is this. What can I say? I was a gal that walked out of my life in Canada in 2010 on the Camino de Santiago and lived there for 10 years and only used Wi-Fi for emailing my children and friends. Most of my life was spent in one-to-one contact with pilgrims from all over the world. And then I, like you, were caught by COVID, you in Europe, me in Canada. And I ended up then being with my granddaughter. And my wonderful twin sister said to me one day, you've got to listen to this program. It's Humanity Rising. And I went, oh, I haven't been networked into the world for 10 years. I've been in my bubble on the Camino. And so I said, why not start with this? So I put you in my ear, Jim. And I've seriously, with doing craft work and everything else with this crazy 5-year-old, listened to Humanity Rising. And as I listened, it was like I was plugging back into this world. It was so interesting how it unfolded. And then when she went back to school in September, I was able to see you because I'd only been listening up to that point. And then I got to see you. And then I got to experience this magnificent offering. And through that, I entered into the chat people with Stan and had another wonderful experience of what the conversation post Humanity Rising was about. And through that, we created Chat Action. And through that, we created the Peace Lab. And in the process of all of those iterations, I had more and more contact with you and more unleashing of what I am to become. And I have told you, Jim, that I did a shamanic healing and I was given in September the message, your best years are yet to come. And I thought, how can that be? I've had crazy, wonderful years. And now I know what they meant. Because working with you every day, seeing that beautiful human on my screen every day in all our different partnership meetings, I have come alive. I have found me. And I attribute that to you, Jim Garrison. Your faith in me, your belief in what we can do together. We are going to rock the edu impact market like it's never been seen before. And I get to do it with you and the team. And just one last shout out. This wouldn't be happening without Matt, who's always connecting the Humanity Rising speakers, and with Rick and Georg, who's always there in the back, who are there in the background making this happen. So a celebration to all of those who make this live stream happen. And Jim, I can't wait what's left to come. This part has been amazing. Thank you. I love you.
Thank you so much, so much.
Oh,
Thank
this is, no, that was
Yes.
me. I made a mistake. I made a mistake. I'm the one making the mistake. Okay, so Jim, because of his magnificent work that you've done, we have now with us the Brazilian voices, and you will remember them from Peace Lab Week, where we had these wonderful voices from Miami who sang Humanity Rising for us. And they have so beautifully agreed to come today and celebrate you. So Vivian and all your beautiful voices, welcome, and I hand it over to you.
Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rise up, my daughter, rise. Your daughters are rising and rising and rising. Rise up, my daughters, rise. Your daughters are rising and rising and rising. Rise up, my daughters, rise. Your daughters are rising and rising and rising. Rise up, my daughters, rise. Your daughters are rising with courage and intuition. Rise up, my daughters, rise. Rise up, my daughters, rise. All women are rising and rising and rising. Rise up, all women, rise. All women are rising and rising and rising. Rise up, all women, rise. All women are rising and rising and rising. Rise up, all women, rise. Your daughters are rising with courage and strength. Rise up, my daughters, rise. Rise up, my daughters, rise. We're rising and rising and rising. Rise up, humanity, rise. We're rising and rising and rising. Rise up, humanity, rise. We're rising and rising and rising. Rise up, humanity, rise.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, everyone.
Happy anniversary. Happy birthday.
Feliz aniversário.
Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, what beautiful lyrics dedicated to Humanity Rising and to you, Jim. And we're going to keep on celebrating you and Humanity Rising. And we have a few more familiar faces who want to share their acknowledgement to you. And we start with Stan Groff, who is a legend within holotropic breathwork. And I know that there's also been several appreciation sessions honoring his life work, and he's here to honor you. So I hand over the word to Stan.
Well, we are bringing with Brigitte, as we usually do now in these ubiquity programs. Then I get into some problems with talking, she will help me. Anyway, this is a wonderful event. I can't believe it. Jim, you probably know that I was part of a very small group at the cradle of Ubiquity. I actually get one of the stock at that time. Do you remember?
Yes.
And we did all kinds of things at the time, you know, including with them university, with you and so on, and in SLN. And then I moved into a different kind of situation, going all over the world with the holotropic breathwork, and we very, very few times see each other. And it's amazing to see you back with this glory. And again, it was said many times today, you are amazing. We're bringing spirituality into the industrial civilization, you know, from the very beginning, from, you know, SLN, Wisdom University, and then these amazing Global forums. You know, you have done everything. It's amazing ideas and great class. The way when you did in those big hotels with, I think, chefs from all over San Francisco. And this is just another amazing thing, you know, with brilliance and classy. And we just had the first experience of these programs that you create and offer it to me, you know, for coming
birthday.
So thank you so much. And
well, and Jim, thank you so much. You are amazing. And when we heard you, often you speak at the end of our sessions, and we just listen to you, and we are just in awe. We said, well, you should be the president of the United Nations or of the world, or of, you know, I mean, you would be like what we would envision a leader, a good politician, you know, a visionary with the good heart and the big picture. And so when you speak, it's so wonderful. And thank you so much for creating this, and also using the opportunity, that the gift that's in the pandemic to actually bring people together where we lose kind of contact with each other, and create this, and every day with this energy. I really admire you. We do admire you, and we feel so blessed to be part of this. And thank you so much what you do also for Stan, this wonderful idea, the tribute for his upcoming birthday. So we are in a half-year celebration going up to the 1st of July. What a fantastic idea, together with Susan. And it's just a pleasure and a joy to be connected with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you both.
It's amazing that there is Phil Main. And remember many times ago that he actually brought holotropic breathwork to his...
Oh, the brother who gave the blessing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would love at some point to hear what happened. And
it continues, by the way. It continues.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay, great.
I look forward to it. I'll seek out a way that we can bring you up to date, because that has had huge implications and power in our indigenous communities, and still being.
Oh, wow. We would love to hear that. We connect with you, please.
We added ceremony, of course, to it.
Mm-hmm.
Indigenous ceremony.
Wow.
And it's now called the Breath of Life Ceremony.
Wow.
Anyway, so nice to see you.
Thank you also what you have done today. It was wonderful.
Thank you.
So nice.
Thank you, Stan. Thank you, Brigitte. Love you dearly.
Me too.
Happy birthday.
And thank you, Brigitte. And what a lovely notion. Yes, Jim for president, whether it's president of the United States or the UN, the world definitely needs you, your passion, your wisdom, and all the wealth of compassion that you have, and being able to put your head in so many different topics, as also Peter mentioned. I want to also now hand over the word to the next person who is going to give her words of praise to you, and that is Cynthia Lazaroff, who is a nuclear rights activist and also has been a very engaged participant in the audience and in the Zoom chat. So Cynthia, I hand over the word to you.
Thank you, Sabina, and dear Jim. I've had the joy and honor of knowing you maybe longer than just about anybody here with us today. And I'll never forget the day we met. It was early 1978, 43 years ago. And from the moment you walked into that nonviolence training session for the Clamshell Alliance, I caught glimmers of your greatness. You wanted to change the world, and you were never going to settle for anything less than that. Over these past 4+ decades, it's been an honor and privilege to witness your extraordinary life of service unfold. I first glimpsed your gift for convening in the aftermath of the Chernobyl tragedy, when you were directing the Esalen Soviet-American exchange program and brought together nuclear specialists from the US and USSR for the very first time in an historic dialogue. Then you went on to direct the Gorbachev Foundation and State of the World Forum, where you mastered your convening skills with leaders on the world stage. Then on to your brilliant transformational leadership at Wisdom and Ubiquity University. And now all of this culminating in the gift of Humanity Rising, the gift that keeps giving to all of us, day after day, week after week, month after month, and now year after year. During the opening session last May, you challenged us. You issued a stirring and clarion call. You summoned us to join you, to come together with open hearts, you said, in the spirit of radical collaboration, to do what history requires of us by 2030. To meet this moment that we've all been born for, you said, to ensure the continuity of life itself, a future for children yet unborn unto the 7th generation. And oh, what a brilliant, wondrous journey we've been on with you ever since. You show up every day to do this with inspiration and eloquence, nobility, courage, grace, respect, and with so much heart and love. You're always cultivating the fertile ground, sprinkling in the compost of your wisdom, creating the optimal conditions for what we're meant to do together to blossom and grow. Each day you welcome us into this sacred space, a crucible, a place for us to work the alchemy with you and one another, to spin the dross of our time into gold. This is such a gift. And I just want to say that for me personally, one of the things I'm most grateful to you for is how from the outset of Humanity Rising, you have so powerfully and passionately come forward to honor, celebrate, and champion women. You have said over and over that it's a matter of national security and human security, an existential imperative that women come forward to lead all over the world at this turning point moment. And as a beautiful demonstration of this, you dedicated the first 10 days of Humanity Rising to women. This has meant so much to me. And when you reached out to me last spring, after we hadn't been in touch literally for 10 years, there was this beautiful confluence, a synchronicity, as I was just starting a program to empower women and girls to lead the quest to abolish nuclear weapons. And you offered the perfect moment to launch this effort in sessions commemorating the 75th anniversaries of the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. With deep bows of gratitude to you, Jim, it really became a blessed christening, an anointing for the project that has made such a difference and reverberates to this day. Thank you, Jim, for always bringing out the best in me and in all of us. We're all in this together with you. So today, Jim, as we mark the first anniversary of Humanity Rising, we thank you, we bless you, we honor you, we celebrate you, and we love you. We'll be cheering you on through year 2 and beyond. Love you, Jim. Thank you.
Love you too. Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you.
So beautiful. Such beautiful words and praise. Thank you very much, Cynthia. And with that, I want to hand over the word to Stan Pokras, who has been so engaged in our chat and has really consolidated all the vast information on the sessions and everything from nearly day one, and has also been the creator of the AfterChat. So really, really contributing to Humanity Rising and the library of wisdom that we have. So Stan, I hand over the word to you.
I guess. Oh, I'm on. Okay. Hi. And wow, this is so amazing. I really am flattered to be here. And I don't know how to look at this because I have another computer over there. And apparently I'm on that computer as well as this one. But I want to thank Jim for creating this process. And I acknowledge, first of all, his curiosity, because without that, nothing happens. And then he not only has curiosity, but he has courage, because courage is what it takes to start something without knowing how it's going to end. And then on top of the curiosity and the courage, he displays stamina. And you can't build something and have it go and go and go as this has without stamina. And as far as I know, there's only been about 4 or 5 days that Jim has not been here to be the introducer and the summarizer of these events. It's just been amazing to see how much energy and clarity this man brings to the world. What I was able to do is to recognize, well, from day one, I recognized that Jane Goodall was the opening speaker. And I was already a fan of hers. But then as I continued to watch, I noticed that the chat was full of the same people most every day, or sometimes. And well, the kind of thing that I have been doing all my life is bringing people together. So I said, well, why don't I ask these people to join me in my chat room, in my Zoom channel? And blowing me away, 15 people showed up the first day that we did that. And we've been doing it every day after that since. And so we've essentially formed a wonderful fan club for Humanity Rising and Jim. And the staff has made it possible for all these things to happen. And it's just been a fantastic experience for me and for the people who have come together after we finish with each day, and we talk to each other and herald the progress and the potential. I want to bring in, let's see how well this works, the fact that shift to select multiple windows. Shift to select multiple windows. Okay. Yeah. Well, don't know how this is supposed to work because I haven't done it live like this. What I want is to talk about this, and maybe. Okay, that's good enough. We have a process of listing all of the Humanity Rising days. And there's 253 of them. And when we, as a group, as a fan club, start realizing that we are more than fans, we have a role to play in taking this body of work and making it into something that should be and could be and will be a lot larger. I see us creating civilization for the first time on the planet. We have had little civilizations here and little civilizations there, but we've never had a global civilization. And this, to me, is the ingredients for the global civilization and a period of time, an age that I call the age of helpfulness. What I would like to do here with this opportunity that I've been given to speak is to challenge the chat people and everybody else who loves what's going on here to help make the connections between all of the 800 or so people who have appeared on Humanity Rising with all of these different topics and all of these different interests. And what we've started here with this listing in other networks is a beginning point, and we need to be able to add to each one of these line items a little bit of what was really going on in that event, in that session. Okay, being healthy naturally, understanding the current status of the pandemic. Okay, we have Dr. Chris Breyer. Well, what was that doing? What was it being talked about? Here we have the Peace Week and what was going on during the Peace Week. We could annotate this listing to give us a better understanding. Our digital health. Well, what does that mean? So we need to make this a little deeper and then also be able to catalog and organize all of this information so that we as individuals can take on the challenge of helping these folks, the 800 or so, connect with each other, because we see relationships that will only be ours. Each one of us has the opportunity to create relationships among all of these folks. And we should not depend only on Jim to build the new civilization. It is our job to build civilization. Thank you, Jim, for giving us the ingredients to work with.
Thank you, Stan, for all you've done. It's been amazing.
Thank you, Stan, and the era of helpfulness. That is certainly a good way to phrase the era that we are now entering. And also another thing that we've talked about is all the different seeds of partnerships that have really sprung from Humanity Rising. And one of those is the new MRA program that is hosted together or with Ed Muller, who isn't here with us today, but I do want to introduce Melina Angel, who is also a partner for the new MRA program. So Melina, I hand over the word to you.
Thank you very much, Sabine, and thank you, Jim. Thank you very much from the South and from the soul. Yes, I want to be really grateful from Colombia, who is passing through a very hard times of rising and awakening the consciousness, especially youth people are really standing for consciousness. And when I was thinking about what to say to you today, I am just connecting with something that I really needed to sink into myself when we were organizing the week for Bouncing Beyond with Edward and so many other people. And one thing that you said was that you wanted the feminine to lead. So we went into designing that week of figuring out what feminine leading means for changing and bouncing beyond and everything that we know. And it was an amazing experience. And I remember you emailing, okay, what's the plan? And we were like, we are not working with plans now. And it was like, okay, I trust. And what it sinked so deeply in me was the fact that I felt so held by your trusting. And I let this sink into the soul of the feminine of the South, because in the order that was imposed to humanity, you know, like the South women are the most left of the inhumanity. So to have the trusting of a white man leading an amazing movement and say, okay, go and lead this. It was very amazing healing process. And I let it sink into the soul of the South. And that's my way of you know, like connecting and in a quantic field what is really going on in the healing process of humanity. So thank you very much for that. And because it was for me a fact of tenderness, I wanted to bring some extracts just of the manifesto of the radical tenderness. So I want to read that for you, and it goes like this. This is a manifesto for Danny D'Emilia and Vanessa Andreotti and the GTDF collective. And it says, co-sense with radical tenderness and accept its invitation to be present. Tune in with the collective body, both human and non-human. Take notice of all the skins and places we inhabit, the bones, the lands that bear our weight. Feel our entanglement with everything, including the ugly, the broken, and the mess up. Relate beyond desires for coherence, purity, and perfection. Integrate with a wider metabolism, with a much longer temporality than for human body. Co-sense with radical tenderness and make a space for the unknown and the unknownable in ourselves and in others. Seek sense fullness rather than meanfulness. Allow the state of wonder to stay open without always trapping it into meaning. Engage with creativity beyond the intellect. Be open to what you can't and may never understand. Co-sense with radical tenderness and be receptive to the teachings of your shadows. Discover a whole vast of different creatures inside yourself. Look into the mirror and release the fear or disappointability, rejection, and abandonment. Co-sense with radical tenderness and practice engaged detachment. Offer palliative care to the dystopic world that it is dying, both within and around us. Digest the teachings of these death offers. Co-sense with radical tenderness and assist to the birth of something new without suffocating what it is being born with projections and idealizations. Co-sense with radical tenderness and invoke and evoke in a double and simultaneous movement the manifestation of a political practice of healing and well-being that it is beyond what human intelligence can fathom. Allow it to come through you, forever changeable and fluid. For the rise of humanity, thank you, Jim. We are here at the heart of our collective journey, hoping all humans can feel the heart of the earth and the humanity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Melina. Thank you very much for that. Thank you.
And I'm sure that we are going to make an incredible program. This is the Master of Regenerative Action is just blowing everybody mind, you know, like everybody is just, this is happening. I am sharing a lot and I'm sure that we will be having an amazing first cohort. Thank you very much. And we are inviting everyone to participate. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Melina, and also thank to Ed and Jim for creating that program that definitely is needed and will take the world into the right action-orientated incentive. We have time is running, but we have one more brilliant mind and engaged participant in our Zoom chats over the year that Humanity Rising has been with us. And she's here to share her celebratory accolade to you, Jim. So I hand over the word to Shannon MacArthur.
Thank you so much, Sabine. I'm also known as sunlight sparkling on the waters. I live in Kamloops, BC, Canada, in the unceded land of the Secwepemc people. The COVID crisis of 2020 is spiced with the flavor of Jim Garrison. Daily Humanity Rising provided a stable pattern of inspired input. Jim, the depth and variety you provided kept me coming back, and I was really glad when you cut back to 5 days a week. There's been little time to write since Stan instigated the AfterChat on day 60. Thanks, Stan. Connecting the Dots, auspicious title. Bouncing Beyond culminated in the episode titled Source on my birthday, though I didn't tell. It's been such a thrill, Jim. Stan Groff's extended 90th birthday celebration and Peace Week. One of the first episodes I saw was day 42, Elizabeth Sartoris. She wrote a creation story, Gaia's Dance, the story of Earth and us. I have a geometric creation story, how one dot became two through wonder, two became three through curiosity, and three became four to allow more, and how now is the time for another dot. We are in joyful alignment, Jim, and I love your optimism, depth, and clear vision. I have a poem to share, a gift to give, and then appreciation will continue. It's called The Drum Circle for the Green Man. I am a priestess of Gaia. The moon witnessed. She heard me say, I will speak for you when the time is right. That time is now. I want to help you start the heart of the God we are destined to be, or you to help me. We were created separately, so our learnings and lifelines could be woven, super entangled within the womb of our mother. She, the rest of her, is outside of time, eternal. She is another magnitude of human. Once upon a time, there were only single cells here upon the earth, then plants, then animals. Now there are 7+ billion of us, and we've made a hell of a mess of our sandbox. Stretching to look inside ourself, can we behold the whole of us? Can we become the hand of God? Can we start our heart? I want a miracle. The walls of Jericho came down. Vibration can do that. I envision everyone, whole towns and cities, societies, all drumming, a beat every second, fusing our souls by the sound of the drums in a beat that seals and heals our entanglement. Feeling the beat inside of our cells will be part of it, and it of us. Like morning prayers sung from a spire, I aspire. I believe in a benevolent universe. Do you? I also believe in us and in the prophecy, a child will be born. I believe we are that child, a God just like our parents, as is only right and in accordance with natural law. The being that we are has a life cycle in which human is but a stage, in my humble opinion, like a butterfly. I wonder if dragons are a part of that. I wrote a bedtime story, a gift you might like. It is time for a bound into the boundlessness, a quantum leap, a geometric magical event, the birth of a dot through the hearts of us all. Threading the torus of time, the child of gods is alive. We are the green man, born to adore her. With the time and energy of Sol above us, we will restore her and more. Our Heart Gardens is a pattern I was given of the fabric of reality that outlines the shape of us. I see the jewels of Indra's net rising through the chaos, gardens springing up, and people choosing to listen inside, creating places where we connect, heal, and flow. Learning how is the way to go. As within, so without. Gaia heals as we heal. Where gifts flow, energy goes, and humanity rises.
Thank you so much, Shannon, for that beautiful and thoughtful poem. And we will now continue. There are more who want to give their words of praise, and we're now going to go to some pre-recorded sessions that we have, and we're going to start with Vandana Shiva. So Rick, if you'd like to roll the video.
Dear Jim, I send my greetings of love and congratulations through these terrible times of despair and death. For a whole year, through Humanity Rising and the Ubiquity University, you have kept hope alive. You have kept unity growing. You have shown how out of every despair, there is hope. Out of every separation, there is unity. Keep up your good work. We are with you, Jim. Lots of love.
And with that, we go to the next person who would like to give their contribution, and that is Ben.
Hello, this is Ben Bowler from Unity Earth, and honored to be showing up here today to celebrate 1 year of Humanity Rising, and particularly you, Jim Garrison. I remember it was probably about April last year in 2020 when Jan Golding first informed us of what was happening at Ubiquity University and what you were all up to, and made the introduction to John Raymer and I. I think it might have even been the same email. It's amazing how quickly things can go. And when we heard about what you were doing, it was so inspiring for us. We were just starting to think about what we could do online during the lockdown, and World Unity Week was starting to emerge and be born. And when we heard what you guys were already doing and had already started and were really out in front and getting such incredible traction for what you're bringing together, it was really inspiring, and it gave us another sense that really this is the time to be doing what we're doing in bringing these different conversations and groups and elements together in a whole perspective. But 200 and something continuous shows later, and I think 900 guests you've had in this year. It's just incredible, Jim, what you've achieved. It really is outstanding, an extraordinary contribution ongoing to the whole human family and to the whole community of life on Earth. What strikes me as being so extraordinary about what you've done and what you're doing is the breadth of the material that you have brought together, the amount of variety of topics, subjects, thought leaders, passion areas that you brought together with such mastery and skill, weaving them together in an incredible whole framework. Your genius, Jim, in my experience, is really being able to be an expert on pretty much all of the content, all of the subjects, all of the fields that you are facilitating conversations in. It's really remarkable, and I really honor you today and every day that Humanity Rising is on and shining. And just to say that we need your leadership more than ever. We need your guidance and your wisdom and your strategy and your skill and your heart and your loving presence in the field more than ever. So I'm so happy that the team of Humanity Rising are doing this and celebrating and honor you, Jim Garrison, and long live Humanity Rising, long live Jim Garrison, more strength to your arm. And we look forward to being deeply engaged with you in co-creative ways now and well into the future forevermore. So congratulations on 1 year of impactful programs and connections and changing the world. We've got lots to do before us, and you're a real inspiration and way shower for so many of us, Jim. Thank you, and keep it up, and more power to you. Thank you.
Dear, dear Jim, this is your party with your whole team, but I want to focus my attention especially to you because I started the Corona time and I was thinking like this. And then after I saw Humanity Rising twice, 3, 4 times, I was thinking and feeling like this or like this. So you really put it my thinking and afterwards feeling upside down, and I thought like, oh my God, if this is possible, if this what you do with your fantastic team, so I will not forget, of course, the back end of all this energy, so the people in the back end, but if we can make this possible for every country. So we were talking in Amsterdam, I remember very well, about Humanity Rising the Netherlands, so we wanted to start, and then Humanity Rising France or Chile or whatever, and so I was convinced that I had to start it in Holland, and I did it, and it's still there. I try to let it grow, not by only me, who is the leader of the band, but by inviting others to also take their fixed day to send whatever kind of information about all the transitions and transformations that we're in of, because there's so much to do and to talk about and to say if it comes to the new earth that evolves, or that how do you say that starts to rise, humanity rise, the new world rises. So that's what I feel, at least. So yeah, it's a kind of COVID makes also all these layers and all these systems that are so fixed in their old thinking, makes it loose, and the vibration comes and it's bigger and bigger and it grows. So I'm very optimistic, as always. I was also very optimistic that Humanity Rising Netherlands would be a success, and so I'm staying always optimistic. And thanks to you, Jim Garrison, you made my, not my day only, but you made my year, and you made my 1.5 year, almost 2 years. And thanks for your persistence and for your way of looking at things and for inspiring me. And I understood that you are now not living anymore in Holland, but in the United States. So have a fantastic party with all of you, and let's meet somewhere, sometime in this new world. Bye-bye. Ciao, ciao.
Well, Jim, we have one more pre-recorded video, and I look forward to sharing that momentarily, but wanted to start by just reflecting on the almost 3 years now that I've spent with you and at Ubiquity University. It's said that true leaders empower those around them. And these last 3 years of my life, I've learned more about myself, my capacity, and stepped into the most empowered version of myself than I ever have before in my life. The way that you trust your team to bring out the best in themselves for the benefit of all is truly humbling and inspiring. From leading admissions to director of operations, getting a chance to spend 3 months with you in Sri Lanka, persevering through dengue fever and bringing soft skills to engineering students. It's really been an honor to be at your side, and now for Humanity Rising. I've learned so much. It would be impossible to encapsulate here in just a few minutes, but a few of the good ones ask for forgiveness, not permission. The power of a daily routine. And I have to say, when there's times that I'm looking to expand my knowledge of the world, sometimes I go onto YouTube and I pull up your great books, YouTube videos, and I actually listen to them as I lay there and fall asleep. I think the biggest thing that you've taught me so far that I'm still learning is how to hold the whole, how to radically accept the reality that is in front of us, that is in front of me, and to integrate it, to hold steady in my integrity and my authenticity, and to step up and put myself out there for the benefit of our collective mission. So thank you. Thank you for taking a stand personally for ubiquity. Thank you for living your life as a stand for humanity and bringing us along for the ride. So you're the most important mentor in my life, a brother, a friend. This has been a fantastic celebration. And I would like to end by sharing a video I made about Humanity Rising. After the first 2 weeks, hearing all of the visions and choruses of the beautiful possibilities for the future, I was inspired to create this video. So I'll share that now.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Coming to you live from Shelter in Place, a watershed moment for us, the human race. The plan is 10 years to transcend fears, so now watch us rise with strength and grace. Pause. For the ones that came before, leaving wisdom of source to force, and of course, 7 generations to come, who also deserve air, earth, water, and sun. And so we rise up, yeah, us all together now, back to claim our birthright. We're birds of a feather now, weathering the weather while we all learn to take a bow. With our bodies separate, we bring our hearts together. Wow, wow. And with one deep breath, collective intelligence will arise from the depths. Welcome to the moment we finally arrive. Today we gather round and help humanity rise.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Jim, thank you for your presence, your knowledge, and the wisdom of quiescence. And it's at this point that I would like to hand it over to John Raymer and enter the part of our program where we get to hear from our beautiful audience who help create Humanity Rising each and every one of these days. So thank you so much, Jim, and over to you, John.
Yeah. Hey, Jim, that's about as good a sign of the difference you're making in the world. Listening to Matt, empowering this next generation, and listening to that video, you should be so proud. Oh, brother. There you go. That's what it looks like when it's working. That's when we're doing our job in the world. That was beautiful, man. Really, really touching. All right, in the spirit of radical collaboration, we're encouraging some of our attendees, because so many people Jim want to be a part of honoring Humanity Rising and you and Matt and Richard and the team and everything that's been done. So we're going to invite a couple people up here. I'm not sure how we're doing this, Rich.
Hey,
I'll follow
John.
your lead. Yeah,
Hey, John, we've got 3. Charlene would be first.
perfect.
I'm going to open her mic.
All right.
The mic's open. Charlene? Charlene, you have your mic off. Tell you what,
This
let's
is
go
radical
to
collaboration.
let's
There
go
you
to
go.
Cuff and we'll come back.
Okay. All right. People have raised their hands.
Yeah, but
You're
Cuff,
looking to give them.
do you have your mute off, Cuff?
I'm here.
There you go.
Okay, go for it.
Yeah, I just wanted to express my appreciation, Jim, for all of the work that you have been doing. Probably all the way from day one, I was here, and I was sort of like in the background and got captured in the energy. And I remember that I was as an African American and who had done some things in the world and I'd become president of the Association for Humanistic Psychology. I was always looking for a platform, that we could do something globally, and I was always involved with the whole notion of the evolution of consciousness. But being incarnated as a Black person in this world, and I knew that I chose that role, I said to I was always trying to find this kind of platform where there was kind of the spirit of what AHP actually called kindred spirits on the edge. And when Humanity Rising appeared, I went, oh my goodness, this is global platform of kindred spirits on the edge who are indeed involved with the whole premise of the evolution of consciousness, which is so much needed in order to cure the ills that we've created as humanity. So again, I just wanted to express my appreciation to you, to Ubiquity University. Such a brilliant name for a university. So thank you so much, and thank you for you and the team for creating this kind of platform. It's just been wonderful.
You, Cuff.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Charlene, mic is open if she wants, whoever that wants to unmute. Not there. Okay, let's go to Mary Thorpe. Mary, your mic is open. Can you unmute, Mary? Okay, let's go to Joseph. Okay, Joseph, you're unmuted.
Oh my God, I cannot believe that I'm talking to Jim Garrison. I just wrote a comment here. Jim, you are extraordinary. I'm sorry, Christ-like figure in the way you have made a difference in my life and made a difference in how you've cleared the road to where we're going, Jim. Really extraordinary. And when I say extraordinary, your humility and the people that I've never seen, I've worked with some real great ones, Deepak and Stephen Covey and people like that who have brought a lot of really extraordinary people together. You have surpassed my expectations around this. So thank you so much. I'm so grateful to be able to say thank you for being in my life. Aho.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Beautiful. All right, Richard, you want to do another one?
Yeah, there's somebody, it's just 2020. I'll open the mic. I saw Kurt a second ago. I don't know where he went. Oh, that's Kurt. Okay. Kurt, your mic is open.
Thank you so much, Jim, and every single person who's ever participated with you in your life, because you have been made by all of them, and you're sharing all that wisdom and experience as a kipper. Because intellectual understanding is great. You can get that at a university, but boy, that direct experience is the most important thing that you offer us in all the variety of ways. You've stimulated people in this after chat to be able to create the action group and the Peace Lab, and that's expanding and even presenting now on Humanity Rising and going even further. And what magic is created? You're an alchemist. And what can't we do? There's nothing that we cannot do. This is the love and life that you shine in your smile, in your integrity, in your authenticity. I mean, I could go on, but thank you so much. We are blessed, and we'll keep on giving the blessings that we've received. Thank you.
Thank you, Kurt. Thank you for all that you're doing as well. Thank you.
Okay, that's it, John. We should move on.
Beautiful. Yeah, no, it's really beautiful. You know, Jim, I mean, I feel very privileged to have the chance to say a few words to you. And I want to, you know, because I think there's that notion that a crisis is a terrible thing to waste. And, you know, the fact that we're making sure we don't waste that crisis, and with your leadership, and particularly your leadership as a man, the fact that we have a history of abusing power as men, but I see how you have used your power and influence to make sure the voices of the indigenous and the women and the youth, I mean, this is what leadership needs to be in our time, and you've demonstrated that. There is no greater way to contribute than by walking that path and making it visible. That's a gift. And like Brother Phil said, the honor of one is the honor of all. So somehow a year into this, like Ben Bowler calls it, was really year 0. And this now we're entering year 1 on this 10-year journey. Because it's a brilliant idea to say we're going to form a coalition that's going to have these transformative conversations that matter and turn them into actions that make a difference. That's great. But we know we're not there yet. We know our work is in front of us. It's right now. And it's more than the words, it's the deeds, it's the realization of what radical collaboration really looks like at this time. We need all of us. And I'm so grateful to everyone at Ubiquity University who said, okay, this is ours to do. And in doing so, we've been able to find a home. So Humanity Rising, for me, there's a beautiful phrase called a vessel for traveling. And you remember I talked to you about Moonshot 2030? Well, it's now Magic Canoe 2030. Magic Canoe, traveling between worlds. Lots of room. Everybody welcome. Here to serve our journey home. It's a privilege and honor to bring my heart and soul and to find this way together through the leadership that you guys are showing, through the spirit in which we are being together at this incredible turning point in humanity. I love you, Jim. I love everything that we represent here together and are doing in these conversations. And we will find that way to turn these conversations that matter into the real actions that are going to change the world for the generations to come and for our ancestors who are looking out for us on this path. Love you, dear brother.
Thank you, John.
Thank you so much.
Thank
It's such
you.
a joy.
Love
Yeah.
you.
I love you. May love lead the way.
May love lead the way. Thank you very much, John. And thank you also to our audiences who gave their words of appreciation there too. I now want to introduce Dr. Marilyn Hamilton, who is a city evolutionist. She's a proactivist, an author, and researcher, and also the founder of the Integral City Group, who annually every year give out the Mesh of the Year Award. So now it's time to give out this year's Mesh Award. So I hand over the word to Marilyn.
Thank you, Sabina. Yes, Jim, it's my honor to not just follow up the tributes that you've received today, but I want to actually present a reward and an award to you as the Mesh Worker of the Year 2021. Wow. So I want to share my screen and show you what that means from the publication that we've already put up through Integral City. And I just would like to speak out so that people know not only what they have been speaking to you in the tributes, but that your recognition is really grounded in this Mesh Worker of the Year award. You are the founder and president of Ubiquity University and the producer of Humanity Rising. Your passion and purpose for Humanity Rising is to create a historical gathering of great minds and hearts responding to the pandemic as a crisis not to be wasted. So if you can see on the screen, there you have a picture of what the actual award looks like, and we'll be sending that to you. And you're not only the founder of Ubiquity University, but you're the co-founder of the State of the World Forum, the Gorbachev Foundation, and you create global learning meshworks that are Gaia-focused, holistic, and action-oriented. You demonstrate these qualities as an individual, and I think you think like an integral city. You're dynamic, you're complex, evolutionary, and you're always vitally alive, as all these tributes have said. So I just wanted to tell you a few of the Integral City intelligences that I think you bring on a global scale. Our first set are called contexting intelligences. So from an ecosphere perspective, every day of Humanity Rising, you paint a picture, as everybody has been saying, of the theme for the day that is sensitive to the ecological setting of the story. You know all the big challenges faced by Earth, and you recognize not only that we're on Earth, but we are Earth, and that she is our mother. The emergence intelligence. Jim, you trust that resonance and coherence will result in emergence. For a year, you have invited into Humanity Rising an exploration that people right on the screen have made discoveries, they have interacted, they've had conversations that make a difference, and clearly demonstrated how not to waste a good crisis. Over the year, you've fearlessly parried with really multiple crises and unexpected challenges. One that many of us have heard you speak about is George Floyd's death. And by doing so, you've catalyzed 12 months of generative insights. Of course, from an integral perspective, you formed Ubiquity University by inviting the quintessential integral expert of the world, Ken Wilber, to be the chancellor, and you backed him up with Peter Merry as your chief innovation officer. And together, the three of you have created the Humanity Rising, as we've been listening all this session. And you use the aqua lenses, the all quadrants, all levels, and you bring the four voices of the integral city into the conversation. So we've heard from citizens, from business innovators, from civic managers, and the third sector. And in many ways, you use what I would call 5 maps of the city. From the living intelligence perspective, Jim, you approach both Ubiquity University and Humanity Rising through a multi-generational way. We've heard from Next Gen through Matt. He's just such a wonderful example, along with the other group that we heard from the other day, of how you've drawn from around the world to build your team for Ubiquity. And you've done this bringing into the connections from the early days of Esalen, not only the Gorbachev Foundation, but your interconnections from the State of the World Forum. And as a result, we've seen on Humanity Rising that the whole of, if we imagined the globe to be 100 people, we see them over the last year, the 900 people that have been here have been really inclusive, compassionate, and the container you've created is what I call the master code of care. When we move into the individual and collective intelligences, Jim, you shine here too. From an individual inner and outer perspective, you're an exemplary demonstration of how these intelligences can be woven together in one person. And that by just creating the minute of meditation at the beginning of each of the days, you really ground us in a deep personal inner awareness. You have been faithful to the enactment of all kinds of body work, from deep breathing to humming, that has been personally really useful to me, to trauma release, to optimizing physical health through diet, organic food, water, and a whole range of healthy behaviors. When we look at the collective intelligences, Jim, structure, you've just brought that into such a beautiful way in Humanity Rising, both in ways that serve us and mature us as a species. And as many have already pointed out, that chat action evolution that emerged, you actually moved along that curve of structural emergence. And you shifted us from passive listeners, although I must say that no one in the chat is ever really very passive on Humanity Rising, into really active participant contributors. And we see that you've moved from 7 days to the 5 weeks, and then you started to offer whole weeks of intensives on regenerativity, on cities, and on peace. When we look at the collective intelligence through the cultural lens, you brought the globe into every day. And across the last year, we've seen, as we pointed out, the women who started the 10 days have really been ways of, have brought the feminine intelligence, and that question of what if women ruled the world has really been part of what you've woven through in the Master Code of Care for self, others, place, and planet. When we think of the 3 strategic intelligences, Jim, you've enlivened always Humanity Rising with inquiry. So when you brought in donut economics, you're always asking us, what choices do we need to make for humans to be a healthy, vibrant species in all of Gaia's ecoregions, contributing to the well-being of all Gaia's life? As a meshworking intelligence, Jim, you are exemplary. You not only bring together the 4 voices of the city, but you self-organize things and bring high capacity people around you. So not only do we have Richard Buckley, who's serving us today, but Georg Bach, and then you brought in Shelley Alcorn, who's your COO, and also an expert commentator on American political science. Jim, you see the potential in the new kind of MBA, and you were so delighted when that name of the MRA, the Master of Regenerative Action, came up, and you seized on it immediately and said that is for us at Ubiquity. The navigating intelligence, Jim, well, you are an intuitive navigator. I think you use what we call the Integral City GPS, which includes all of these intelligences. But you also create, as John Raymer just pointed out, a vessel that allows the people to find a direction, as you've been pointing out with donut economics. And it doesn't matter what kind of setbacks you might encounter. You listen to your advisors, but let's agree, we're always seeing that you're way out in front. You're citing new possibilities and finding new potentials. So this brings me to the last of the intelligences that we use in honoring mesh workers, Jim, and that is the evolutionary intelligence. And you've demonstrated this with all of the foregoing intelligences I've just spoken about, because you allow the evolutionary impulse to flow through your whole being. You, I know, are a beekeeper, and you naturally cross-pollinate a whole year of deep insights, intricate interconnections and new relationships across the globe. And the energy of these discoveries attracts beauty, truth, and goodness. And you just naturally amplify them in the fields that you find around you. Jim, I think you are a real life force of the human hive. And you cannot deny the evolutionary impulse is called through Gaia to you. And you have made Gaia a better planet, able to nurture her cities as Gaia's reflective organs, because you are Jim Garrison. And as the founder of Integral City Meshworks, who gives out this award every year for personal, professional, intelligent investment in Humanity Rising's initiatives in not wasting a good crisis, I am so proud to award you as Meshworker of the Year 2021. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Marilyn. What a beautiful thing. What a beautiful thing. Thank you so much.
We're all.
Sorry.
It is really your birthday card, Jim, and you've more than earned it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm humbled. I'm very humbled.
Thank you and congratulations, Jim, to Mesh Worker of the Year. And just hearing those words that Miriam explained, it's such, an elegant way of really painting the palette of who you are and the human being that you truly are, and such a source of inspiration. And as this is all about you, the team, and of course the 1-year anniversary of Humanity Rising, I think it's time for also a happy birthday celebration for Humanity Rising. And some of us who have a candle to light will take up our candles, and I hand over the word to your lovely wife, Jim, who will take us from here. So Claire, I hand over the word to you.
Jim, well done. I hope you've taken in every single word that's been said. It's so true. You've given us your heart and your soul. And every morning I'm as astonished as everybody else that you get up and you provide inspiration. I know you used to try it at the breakfast table with the boys and they weren't quite as appreciative as perhaps they could have been and should have been, but now you have this huge family and this growing network of partnerships, and we're so very proud. So I think the one missing piece, since it's an anniversary, it's a birthday, is a cake, but not just any kind of cake. Of course, it had to be
a donut.
Birthday to you, the samba style. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear.
Happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Birthday, Jim.
Happy birthday, Jim. And I thought finally we might give the word over to you, Jim, as well, to convey, your thoughts of how has this year been? This first year of the birth of Humanity Rising.
Oh boy. Well, first of all, everyone, I had no idea this was going to happen. So it's, I'm a little overwhelmed. And thank you all from the bottom of my heart for your tribute to the human spirit in a time of duress, when all of us had to reach more deeply into ourselves to find the grace to embrace hope through the darkness. And the fact that you all showed up today and are affirming me. I totally embrace that. I receive it. I thank you for it. And through me, I think we're embracing ourselves, and we're embracing all that we have endeavored to do. We have a long way to go. It's 2021. We have about till 2030. But I am more assured and more abundant in my being, in my soul today than I was a year ago. And I'm more deeply confident that somehow, in some mysterious way that is beyond our imagination, I think as we stand here today, we can traverse the challenges and bring healing into the world. In just a week's time, on the 25th, it's also the first anniversary of the death of George Floyd. And we've sought to honor George as his death in some highly paradoxical way brought to our attention the challenges of race and the challenges of domination and the challenges of separation. And so if Humanity Rising has meant nothing else, it's meant that we're at a moment where we have to embrace unity. We have to celebrate diversity. We have to somehow, with each and every crisis that confronts us, fashion an opportunity vector, as we have through Humanity Rising and the depths of that pandemic. When Lisette shot me that email and said it's time to recreate the State of the World Forum online, I knew instantly with every cell in my body that she was correct. So Lisette, thank you. Thank you. You spurred all of us on to the next phase of growth and development and service to this world. I want to thank all of you who've partnered with us. There's too many in this brief time to mention, but this donut, I think, says it all. The little circle in the middle is all of what we're doing to nurture human thriving. We want to thrive. We want to be happy. We want to be healthy. And we all want to live in resonance with the outer circle, which is our environment. It's our earth, it's Gaia. In the deep realization that we are Gaia, we are nature, we are earth. And it's the great challenge of being human at this great denouement of history, where we either remember who we are or we're going to forfeit all of what we've become. And we all know that. That's what birthed Humanity Rising, is that deep conviction of our mission at this moment to revitalize humanity. And humanity will now rise, but always within the circle of life, always in remembrance of the ancestors, and forever in dedication to our children and their children and their children unto the 7th generation. That's why we're here. That's what we were born for. And to be in the company of all of you, to be dedicating my life with you to this noble purpose, fills me with great joy. Thank you. Thank you so much. I love you all so dearly. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. always conveying those words so eloquently and so reflective, and it always touches all of our heart. And it's just the outpouring that we've heard so far. And I can also mention the outpouring in the chat with people, you know, really talking about how much you've changed their lives and the impact that Humanity Rising is doing. And from Jim for President to Peace Nobel Prize to so many accolades coming your way that you truly deserve. And I want to now hand over the space to a woman who has an angelic voice that delivers words with such grace and depth and vibration that it truly touches one's heart. And she's graced the present of Humanity Rising with her presence many times and her beautiful voice. And today she's joined by Gary Malkin, who is Chief Visionary Officer of Wisdom of the World Wellness, and also a composer who champions the power of music to promote health, wellness, and compassion. So I hand over the word to the lovely Kim Rosen and Gary Malkin.
Thank you so much. And Jim, I'm so moved by your words, as always. And I'd like to say to everyone, we've heard the word radical a lot, radical tenderness, radical prayer. I want to say, Jim, I celebrate that you are a radical, that every morning the insurgence of arriving on Humanity Rising as if you had just risen out of Merlin's pool of wonder holding a sword, and the insurgence of your undauntable brightness that doesn't deny the horror and the heartbreak and the rage and the trauma that has come to the surface during this time. So I want to call on you, Jim, to see and rewatch this video as a mirror. A wise one once said to me, there is no out there, out there. There is no out there, out there. So all of these, excuse me, voices and people, perhaps you can hear it as I speak this poem as your mirror. It's a poem by Derek Walcott that we all know well, and yet perhaps we can hear it fresh. The time will come when, with elation, you will greet yourself arriving at your own door, in your own mirror, and each will smile at the other's welcome and say, sit here, eat. You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give wine, give bread, give donuts. Give back your heart to yourself, to the stranger who has loved you all your life, whom you ignored for another, who knows you by heart. Take down the love letters of the bookshelf, the desperate notes, the photographs. Peel your own image from the bookshelf. From the mirror, sit, feast on your life. The time has come, this moment, this event, the time has come when with elation you greet yourself in all of us, arriving at your own door, on your own Zoom screen, in your own mirror. Give wine, give bread, give back your heart to itself. Take down the love letters from the bookshelf, the photographs, the desperate notes. Peel your own image from this mirror. May this mirror of this convergence of hearts be blessing to you. Peel your own image from this mirror. May you drink us in as your very self. Sit. Feast on your life. Give wine, give bread, give back your heart to itself, to the stranger who has loved you all your life, whom you ignored for another, who knows you by heart. So many blessings, so much gratitude, and gratitude also to Matt, to Georg, to Rick. And I also want to send a shout out to Claire. I only know the smallest fraction of what you're doing there in the background, but I know it must be multitudinous. So thank you, Claire, for all you have done, known and unknown, to keep humanity rising. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Gary. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Gary. And we're now coming to the closure of today's celebratory session. And I want to round it off with words and a piano piece of Claire Hiles, who is a musical composer and also a friend of Jim. And she's actually written a special message to you, Jim, that I wish it was actually Karen's voice, but I will convey it because Claire is not here. But it's a message that she's written directly to you, Jim, and it goes like this. Dear Jim, congratulations. I hope you and the whole of the Humanity Rising team are feeling much loved and celebrated on this day. I'm sending this to you as a mark of my gratitude for this generous year of seminars, discussions, and presentations that you've offered to help us navigate our way through the storm. Thank you too for encouraging us to look higher and deeper into the place of hope and understanding, as well as a place of self-responsibility and empowerment. It is fitting that this musical offering that I'm going to play is a prayer to the mother, and that is why I wanted to contribute this, since she holds and births and blesses and overlights all things, including these incredible heart-centered and inspiring projects that your love for her initiates. Thank you for sharing this with us all. And may she, who has been called one similar to fire, ignite all our hearts that we may blaze the path of devotion to her moving forwards on this earth. Thank you, Jim. Bless you. Here is Schubert's Ave Maria, arranged by Litz as my gift of gratitude and love to you, Claire.
Beautiful.
So with that, let's listen to the beautiful